This is why you'll never get rich working hard. Why does the grasshopper work harder every year, yet feel poorer every season? Think about it. The grasshopper wakes up early, jumps from task to task, chases more money. And every time the grasshopper earns more, the system takes a bigger bite. That doesn't make sense. Something feels off. Here's the question that quietly buzzes in the grasshopper's mind but never gets answered. If I'm doing everything right, why am I still taxed to exhaustion? Now listen carefully, because this is where the story cracks. The grasshopper believes the rule is simple. Work more, earn more, spend to reward yourself, and pay the price. The rupture is this. The more perfectly the grasshopper plays the game, the more trapped the grasshopper becomes. Because effort is not the problem. Discipline is not the problem. Even intelligence is not the problem. The problem is the game itself. Somewhere nearby, the ant is playing a different one. The ant doesn't chase income. The ant doesn't trade every hour for money. The ant doesn't panic about taxes. The ant buys first. The ant borrows second. And then the ant waits. This is the moment most grasshoppers miss, because while the grasshopper jumps faster, the ant climbs quietly. And the moment you understand why, you'll see why grasshoppers stay taxed forever and why ants move steadily toward freedom. Part 2. The science behind the reset. At this point, the grasshopper usually asks a dangerous question.
If the ant isn't working harder, how is the ant winning?
The answer isn't luck, and it's not privilege, it's psychology. The grasshopper lives inside a stress loop. Earn money, feel relief. Spend money, feel pleasure. Lose money, feel pressure. So the grasshopper jumps again. This loop feels productive, but it's exhausting, because every jump depends on constant effort. The ant lives in a different loop. Buy assets, let them grow, borrow without selling, repeat calmly. No rush, no panic, no emotional spikes. Here's the science most people never learn about money. The human brain is wired for short-term reward, not long-term wealth. The grasshopper brain wants certainty now, pleasure now, visible progress now. That's why saving money feels painful. That's why investing feels risky. That's why passive income feels unreal at first. The ant understands something crucial. Money growth doesn't come from activity. It comes from ownership. When you work, your brain associates effort with reward. When you invest, your brain must tolerate waiting. That's the hardest part. This is why most people never learn how to invest properly, not because it's complex, but because it feels uncomfortable at the beginning. The ant accepts delayed feedback. The grasshopper avoids it. And here's where taxes enter the picture. The system rewards those who own assets, not those who only earn income. Income is visible. Income is trackable. Income is taxed immediately. Assets grow quietly. When the ant invests in stocks, businesses, or long-term vehicles, the money isn't consumed, it's converted. And converted money behaves differently. It compounds, it appreciates, it can be borrowed against. This is why the ant doesn't rush to sell. Selling ends growth. Borrowing preserves it. The ant understands that taxes follow sales, not ownership. So the ant avoids selling unless absolutely necessary. This habit alone explains why ants keep climbing while grasshoppers feel stuck on a treadmill. And once your brain adapts to this way of thinking, saving money stops feeling like deprivation, investing stops feeling scary, and financial independence stops sounding impossible. Because now you're no longer jumping blindly, you're climbing, slowly, deliberately, like an ant. Part 3. Ants' daily reset habits, the core. This is where the ant separates permanently from the grasshopper, not with talent, not with speed, but with daily behavior. Because wealth is not built in moments of motivation, it's built in quiet, repeated decisions. Let's break the ant's system down. Habit 1. The ant buys before it spends. The grasshopper earns money, then decides what to do with what's left. The ant reverses the order. First, the ant buys assets. Only then does the ant spend what remains. This single habit changes everything, because when money is invested first, it never has a chance to disappear emotionally. This is how the ant learns how to invest naturally, Not aggressively, not perfectly, but consistently. And here's where an old lesson still holds true. As Benjamin Franklin warned centuries ago, beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship. The grasshopper ignores the leak. The ant seals it early and lets the ship travel far. Habit 2. The ant saves energy, not just money. The grasshopper believes effort equals progress. More work, more hustle, more stress. The ant believes leverage equals progress. Instead of asking, how do I work harder? The ant asks, how do I make money without being present? That's the foundation of passive income. Not laziness, not shortcuts, but systems that continue even when the ant rests. This is why ants study investing strategies, even as beginners, because leverage always beats force over time. Habit 3. The ant borrows calmly. The grasshopper sells in panic. When the grasshopper needs money, the grasshopper sells time or sells assets. Both are expensive decisions. The ant does something quieter. The ant borrows against what it already owns. Why? Because selling ends growth. Borrowing preserves it. The ant understands that taxes follow sales, not ownership. So the ant avoids selling unless absolutely necessary. This habit alone explains why ants keep climbing while grasshoppers feel stuck on a treadmill. Habit 4. The ant measures wealth differently. The grasshopper asks,
How much do I make?
the ant asks,
How long could I survive without working?
that's the real metric. That's the road to financial independence. When investments and passive income can cover life's basics, work becomes a choice, not a trap. This is how ants retire early. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but inevitably. Habit 5. The ant is boring on purpose. Here's a truth grasshoppers hate. Wealth is boring. No constant excitement, no dramatic wins, no flashy jumps, just quiet accumulation. The ant saves money methodically. The ant invests regularly. The ant lets time do what effort cannot. And while the grasshopper looks busy, the ant becomes wealthy.
Habit 6. The ant repeats without emotion. This is the final reset. The ant doesn't rely on motivation. The ant relies on routine. Markets go up, markets go down. The ant keeps climbing because discipline beats emotion every time. And once these habits are installed, the ant no longer wonders how to make money, how to become a millionaire, or how to escape the tax trap. The answers are already embedded in daily behavior. Next, we'll lock this system in with the mega reset that keeps the ant climbing no matter what the grasshopper world throws at it. Part 4. The mega reset. The foundation. Up to now, the ant has learned what to do. But this is where most grasshoppers still fail, because habits without a foundation eventually collapse. The mega reset is not a trick. It's not an investment tip. It's the mental structure that keeps the ant climbing when emotions try to interfere. The grasshopper lives reactively. The ant lives by rules. The ant builds rules before results. The grasshopper asks,
What should I do right now?
the ant asks,
What rules will I follow for the next 20 years?
rules remove emotion. Rules remove hesitation. Rules remove panic. This is why the ant doesn't constantly second-guess decisions. The decision was already made before money was involved. And this is where Benjamin Graham's wisdom becomes essential. He warned investors about their greatest enemy. The investor's chief problem and even his worst enemy is likely to be himself. The grasshopper fights the market. The ant controls behavior. That's the real edge. The ant defines safety before growth. The grasshopper chases returns, faster, bigger, riskier. The ant prioritizes survival. Benjamin Graham taught that margin of safety is the foundation of intelligent investing. Not prediction, not excitement, protection. The ant asks, what if I'm wrong? Can I survive downturns? Will this decision force me to sell under pressure? Because the ant understands, you don't build wealth by being brilliant. You build it by not being wiped out. The ant never confuses price with value. The grasshopper sees prices. The ant sees value. The grasshopper panics when prices fall. The ant becomes curious.
Graham's most powerful teaching lives here. Markets are emotional. Ownership should not be. The ant doesn't check investments daily. The ant checks alignment with long-term value. That's how the ant stays calm while the grasshopper jumps. The ant commits to time, not timing. The grasshopper waits for the right moment, the perfect entry, the perfect signal. The ant commits to time. Time in the market beats timing the market, not because it's catchy, but because human emotion makes timing unreliable. The mega reset is accepting this truth. Consistency is stronger than prediction. The ant chooses identity over outcomes. This is the deepest reset of all. The grasshopper wants results quickly. The ant chooses an identity. I am someone who invests. I am someone who saves. I am someone who thinks long-term. Once identity is set, actions follow naturally. Saving money stops feeling restrictive. Investing stops feeling scary. Financial independence stops feeling distant. Because the ant no longer reacts to the world. The ant operates from principle. The foundation locked in. This is why ants endure. This is why grasshoppers burn out. The ant doesn't rely on motivation. The ant relies on structure. And once the mega reset is in place, buy, borrow, die is no longer a strategy. It's simply how the ant lives, quietly, patiently, relentlessly climbing. Conclusion. Now you see it. The grasshopper was never lazy. The grasshopper was never stupid. The grasshopper was simply playing the wrong game. Working harder wasn't the mistake. Trying to earn more wasn't the mistake. The mistake was believing that effort alone creates freedom. Ants don't win because they move faster. Ants win because they move forward consistently. They buy assets instead of rewards. They borrow without destroying growth. They let time, not stress, do the heavy lifting. And that's why grasshoppers stay taxed forever, while ants quietly reach financial independence. This isn't about becoming rich overnight. This is about becoming unbreakable over time. So here's the real question, the one that stays open. Will you keep jumping, or will you start climbing? If this way of thinking resonated with you, you already have the ant inside you. Feed it. Like this video. Subscribe to Ant Climb. Join the colony that chooses discipline over impulse, systems over stress, and long-term freedom over short-term comfort. Because money doesn't reward urgency, it rewards patience, and the future belongs to the ants.